we just started thinking about, well, if we're saying no to putting him, selling him to like Disney and doing the action movie version of Marcel the Shell, then like what? Then like what is the? Yeah, there's a lot of like he gets lost in the big city, or he's partnered with John Cena and they fight crime, and like
Oh wow,
It's part of the Avengers,
yeah,
right? That's what's
yes,
happening.
exactly. The Marcel cinematic universe and
you.
the MCU.
hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Movie Podcast. My name is Daniel. I'm one of your hosts today, and joining alongside me, fresh out of his tennis ball, is Shahbaz. Hello, Shahbaz.
Hello, how are you doing? I tried to do my Marcel voice, and you know what? I'll leave the Jenny Slate for that one.
I think we should definitely leave it to Jenny Slate for now. But you know what? I didn't hate it,
Oh,
but I definitely think it needs some work.
oh, okay, that's good.
There is someone who I think can give you some great notes on it, though.
And who would that be?
That would be our special guest today, because joining us on the Movie Podcast today is the co-creator, writer, and director of Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, one of our favorite films this year, Dean Fleischer-Camp.
What?
Yeah.
He's on the show?
He is on the show. Not only is he on the show.
Oh, he's in the show.
He's in the show. No, Dean will be joining us for a conversation on everything Marcel the Shell. As I already said, we loved this movie so much this year.
Oh, yeah.
You and Anthony reviewed it. I was on the episode with you guys, but I had not seen it yet. I got to see it afterwards, and how do you not fall in love with Marcel?
This movie completely caught me by surprise in the best of ways. I think this is a movie that everyone should watch.
Yes.
Because it is so endearing. It's so sweet. It's got great performances. And it would probably be on almost everybody's top 10 of the year because it's just so damn good.
It is. And I think when you look at the ingenuity of Marcel, when you just look at the endearingness and just the pureness of character and like just full of heart Marcel is, you will fall in love with this creature, and you're going to wish that Marcel was Marcel the Shell with shoes on. Or in Canada, if Marcel was inside the house, he would not have his shoes on.
No shoes on the house.
Was a real.
We should have asked him that.
Oh, we got to ask him some fun questions though.
This is a really fun conversation. Dean is an absolute gentleman and super nice. Really just fun to talk to. Just felt like he was one of the boys talking to us.
Yeah,
you know?
one of the boys are. Yeah, exactly. We had a great time with him, and honestly, it's so funny because an hour after we spoke to him, the news dropped that Dean is going to be directing the live-action Lilo and Stitch film. So if you clicked onto this interview and you're thinking, I'm going to get the inside scoop of Lilo and Stitch. Also, why do you sound like that?
Wait, is someone trying to kill him?
I'm going to get the inside scoop on this movie. No one's going to make a Lilo and Stitch movie without me knowing.
Yeah.
That's
Lilo fan number one.
That did some damage to my throat for sure. If you are looking for that, we don't have any questions about that, but we do have something better. We do have a movie that you can watch right now, and that is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. That movie is playing in theaters everywhere. We are so thankful to our friends at Elevation Pictures for inviting us to watch it, inviting us to talk with Dean, and just really introducing one of our favorite movies of the year to us. So thank you to Elevation.
Yeah, thank you so much to them. And we also did get a chance to ask one of the most, I think, pressing questions.
Yes.
When it comes to Marcel and his shoes. Is he a Nike fan or is he an Adidas fan? Is he checks over stripes? What is it? We find out.
You'll have to listen to find out. But before all that, as always, you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday. And watch out throughout the week for our interviews and reviews on all the latest movies and series. This is our big Monday episode this week. We have a lot more crazy things happening this week, so look forward to all of that. We are so lucky and we are so blessed to be having some really great opportunities to talk to some amazing people. So look forward to a lot more interviews this week and next week and the weeks to follow, and some more reviews. We have a lot more reviews coming your way. And then next week, we will be back on Monday with a supersized episode talking about everything that was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. Of course, Marvel Studios is returning. We all have a lot of studios there. This is the first in-person event in 3 years. So I think it's going to be a big one.
I think so too.
I think, was that your Marcel voice again? No, don't do it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And of course, we have some great interviews and reviews out on the Movie Podcast feed that you can listen to right now, including our interview with Joseph Quinn, Paul Walter Hauser, Deborah Chow, Hayden Christensen, Naman Vellani, and so much more. So make sure you're following us at The Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd. You don't want to miss a thing.
No.
And if you want to write into the show, you can do so at hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca. Check out our show notes for all of those links and more. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hello there. You can see our lovely faces. I'm rocking some Movie Podcast merch right now, which you could also buy, link in the description below. You could also subscribe, ring the notification bell, leave a comment. If you've seen Marcel the Shell, you should definitely do so because it is such a lovely film. I don't think we could praise this movie enough of how much we love it. We spoke a lot about it on our best movies of the year so far as well. So definitely go check out that episode. That was last week. We had a lot of fun talking about. We've been really lucky with some amazing movies this year.
We have been
already. This first half is probably one of the best first half of movies ever.
Very long time. Very, very long time.
Very, very long time. But without further ado, let's welcome Dean Fleischer-Camp to the Movie Podcast. Hi, Dean. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Shahbaz.
Hi, Daniel. Hi, Shahbaz. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Great. Wonderful. I'm like new to doing press, so this is it's lovely. It's fun.
So far, you're doing great. I mean, you got your name right.
Yep, nailed it.
His name right too, which is good. Yeah. First and foremost, I just want to thank you for your time today and joining us on the Movie Podcast and hanging out. We haven't stopped talking about this movie since we watched it. We were just so in love with Marcel, and what a beautiful film you've made.
What a journey.
Thank you.
How are you feeling now that it's now out that this film's now out in the world? Marcel is now on the world stage. It must feel strange for you that it's now just everywhere. I feel like I'm seeing this movie everywhere too now, which is amazing.
Oh, I hope so. It's totally weird, you guys. It's like I don't know if you've ever worked on something for like years that was just living on a hard drive and you had like a private relationship with it. And then now people are like quoting lines back to me. And like, I mean, yeah, that was torturous actually, because people on the crew, multiple people were like, Dean, this is so annoying. Like, I have all these lines I want to quote to like my boyfriend or whatever. And he has no idea what I'm talking about. The movie's not out. But yeah, it's unbelievable and surreal. And I just feel really grateful for all of it, really.
Of course. And now, we had the two short films and now the film. What was it like, the journey from those original shorts to now feature length? What was it about Marcel's story that you wanted to tell on the big screen?
Well, when the character first sort of blew up on the internet so long ago, Jenny and I, we just made it for ourselves. It cracked us up. We really let this character, we just really loved. And we kind of felt like we took a bunch of meetings with studios and stuff, and they really were seeing the potential for Marcel to be like a next Minions or something, but they weren't really invested in me as a creator or director. And we sort of walked away from those deals being like, okay, well, what's the version of this that we want to make? And by that point, we'd had kind of been living with this character for years, and we had built so much about his world and his house and his family and his community that it felt like we wanted something that could really showcase that and could really showcase the I don't know, like the emotional depth and complexity that we knew we had like developed but had not really made its way into any of the shorts or anything.
Right.
And so yeah, we just started thinking about, well, if we're saying no to putting him, selling him to like Disney and doing the action movie version of Marcel the Shell, then like what what is there's a lot of like he gets lost in the big city, or he's partnered with John Cena and they fight crime, and like,
oh wow,
it's part of the Avengers, right? That's
yes, exactly. The Marcel cinematic universe. And
you
the MCU. And so that forced us to really think about like, okay, what do we want to make? And I always wanted this to be a movie that is like, there's no reason. I always felt like there's no reason to blow him out to make him go like fight terrorism or whatever. Like he's already living in a world that is so outsized to him that why, he actually loses what's special if you try to do that. And so we just started workshopping with Liz Holm, our producer, and Nick Paley, our co-writer, about smaller stories that we could tell, but still hit those kind of really ambitious, emotional, cathartic beats.
Right.
So that's where we started from. I don't know if I answered your question.
Oh, it did. It definitely did.
I mean, you know, Isabella Rossellini plays such a beautiful performance as Nana Connie, and I noticed on Instagram you posted all these different drawings of potential ways that she could have looked. What was it about the voice of her character that made her so special?
Oh man, that character like changed so much once we cast Isabella, because the process and the way that we wrote it was pretty unusual. But one of the great things about it is that it was like we do 2 months of writing, and then we do like a couple days of recording audio, and then we do 2 months writing, and then a couple. And during that audio record, we would, we'd record what we'd written, but then we'd say, all right, that line's not working, or hey, can I just get some sounds of you chewing, or hey, can you like, can you tell me a story about your childhood? Like, it was a lot of. I was committed to trying to make it give us sort of documentary constraints as much as possible, and so that involved finding actors who were going to be really generous with their selves, with putting themselves into the character. And so we were so kind of fortunate, like that process allowed Nick and I to record with Isabella, get to know her, and then start writing this character towards what we found to be beautiful and surprising and funny about Isabella herself. And it just lent Nana Connie like so much specificity, and the things that I love and I'm like, I just think are so awesome about that character are all the things that I thought were awesome about Isabella once I got to know her. Like, she really is like a pretty strong, like, she has real metal to her, and she actually does know a ton about farming and animal behavior. She lives on a farm. She has a master's in animal behavior.
Wow.
And yeah, and some of the audio that's like in the B-roll-y kind of textured moments where she's showing me around, like showing me her strawberry and stuff, that is actually just me interviewing Isabella for real on her farm, being like, tell me about this plant. So so she walked. I think we got lucky that she gets offered tons of stuff, but she says no to most of it. And what she really loves to do is to like challenge herself to work in a way she's never worked before. And I don't think any of us had ever seen a movie made this way. So
sure. And you even got to put yourself in the movie as well. Now, did you feel like, okay, I have to be Dean, or did you kind of want to bring a little bit of a different element to your character?
I think I'm playing it. You can like, you can't really make, or it's much harder to make art or tell a story about that's personal that you don't have any distance on. Like, it's probably also not healthy. But so this character, I would say I'm playing a version of myself that's from like me, and it's like me in my mid-20s or something, actually.
Right.
It's a little more, it's a moment of growth that I, as a guy in my like later 30s, have a handle on. In a way I didn't back then. But no, I actually didn't want to be on screen at all. And I like was truly, it just, my producers were like, I think you have to. And I had to watch the movie and realize like, yep, they're right. That's where that character has to go. He has to stop using the camera as this distancing tool and, or as, I don't know, armor, and actually like show up for Marcel as a friend.
Right. And I think that's so beautiful in the film, and I think just seeing you, sit next to Marcel in the film, I just love the perspective of that, and just literally just looking at the size difference, and that's what's so, there's such a sense of wonder in Marcel, and the way you shot this is so beautiful because you're seeing everything in the world, even just the everyday mundane things in this world, in the house. You're seeing it through Marcel, and it just feels just so grand and huge. And I just love the way the perspective, right? And I just love the way you guys shot that. And I just wanted to ask you about just just the ingenuity of Marcel traveling and everything like that. You guys must have had literally a ball with the tennis ball, just like this is how Marcel's going to travel. This is how we're going to get from point A to point B. And it was just so cool. Any obstacle that Marcel came across, I'm like, how is he going to get to that? Like, what was your thought process behind this like movement in this world, in this human world?
I mean, what was really cool about the process of like almost locking the audio, or mostly locking the audio into like a radio play, and then beginning to store Kirsten Lepore, the animation director, and I kind of sat down and just boarded the entire movie out. And what that does is it actually puts you in Marcel's shoes, and no pun intended, and forces you to say like, okay, well, in the movie we have this scene that's in the living room, and then we have a scene that's in his stockpile. Like, how is he going to walk up a wall? And then you you have to. You're painted into corners all the time that you have to find your way out of. And so a lot of those ideas came, we thought of maybe half of them, like Nick and I, when we were writing and editing all that audio, but then half of them came out of like necessity of being like, all right, how do I do this? I'm
Right.
tiny.
Now obviously we're gonna need a sequel, and we're gonna need a bigger sequel as well.
$200 million for the next
So
one, I
yeah,
think.
so because of that, is Marcel gonna be rocking some Nikes or some Adidas? What's
right.
Yeah.
Some Yeezys.
Yeezys,
Yeah.
why not? Yeah.
You know, I think Marcel is wonderfully static in his personhood, and he is not going to change even if we get a bigger budget.
I love it.
That's
I
good.
love it.
Money won't change Marcel.
That's good.
That's right.
Dean, thank you so much for your time. Again, we absolutely adore this film. I can't wait for more people to watch it. I think the world's just going to fall in love with Marcel this year. So thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun, you guys.
All right. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
And welcome back. I'm so glad that you got to not only did we got to find out what Marcel is wearing, rocking on the feet,
right?
But we got to ask about a sequel. Nothing yet. We got nothing.
But we did find out that there is a cinematic universe possible.
Yeah, the
MCU.
Shell you.
That also works too.
Yeah, but we had a great time with Dean. Thank you so much again for hanging out with us on the show. We are so excited to see what you do next. Obviously, we know you're going to be working on Lilo and Stitch. But I think what I love so much about talking with Dean is that how much he just loves this character.
Yeah.
And this is a character that's been living with him for 10, 12 years at this point, right?
Oh yeah, probably even longer.
Yeah, so it's amazing to see that what started as short films on YouTube has now grown into this massive motion picture.
Right.
And I implore you all who are listening to the movie podcast, if you're watching this right now on YouTube, go buy a ticket, go see Marcel the Shell.
With shoes on.
With shoes on. And again, like I said, in Canada, no shoes in the house.
Yeah.
You're gonna fall in love with this movie, and you're gonna see why we love this movie so much. I am upset though.
Why?
That we didn't ask him about if he was in Canada, would he not wear shoes on?
Yeah, well, we got to figure that out. Well, hopefully for the sequel.
Hopefully the sequel will establish that.
I'm sure
$200 million sequel.
I'm sure we'll talk to Dean when Lilo and Stitch is coming out too, and we'll sneak that question.
We'll sneak it in. Also, we'll ask, does Marcel grow the shoes, or did he find the shoes?
Oh.
What do you think?
I feel like that's what I don't want to know. That's part of the magic.
That's
I don't
like
want to
seeing
know
how the hamburgers made.
I don't want to know.
You don't want the answers.
No.
You don't want the answers.
Not that one.
I just want to say once again, thank you to our friends at Elevation Pictures for inviting us to talk with Dean, and to Dean for sharing his time with us here on the Movie Podcast. As always, you can catch a brand new episode of our show every single Monday. And watch out throughout the week for our interviews and reviews and all of the latest movies and series. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd at The Movie Podcast. Join our Discord, leave us a 5-star review, and you can write into our show at
hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca.
Check out our show notes for all of those links and more. That was this time at The Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.